So I just finished watching The Conners. Uh, First off, I want to say I think they made a mistake. I think going the opioid overdose route, that was just a bad idea. Uh, I still think that it was better if they'd used my suggestion. Um, at the end of the last episode of last season, Roseanne was going in for a knee surgery, complications with surgery, resulting in death. I think would have been a far better route to go. It's less dark and fucked up. Um, I understand why they went that route. You know, she was hiding pills and shit like that. They did have kind of an addiction angle going. Um, but man, it was real heavy. It was real dark and real heavy in points. Um, it was still funny. The writing was still very much the same. Um, I don't know. It's missing Roseanne. You know what I mean? I still enjoyed it. I still thought it was pretty good. Uh, I don't know if I'm gonna watch it as avidly as I watched Roseanne. Um, it might be a thing that I just kind of check out whenever I think of it now, as opposed to like not being able to wait until the next week's episode. Eh, I don't know. I still think, all in all, it's not a bad show. It wasn't a bad show. I can't say that it was a bad show. I just don't. I don't know. It wasn't as funny. There's just a whole lot missing there. You know what I mean? It's like making a superhero movie without the superhero. It's Superman without Superman. It's Batman with no gadgets. You know, I don't know. It just had this element of it missing, and it was extremely noticeable. Um, but all in all, I mean, it wasn't a terrible show. I laughed at quite a few parts of it. I still thought it was pretty good. It's just, I don't know. She just added that element to it that now it's totally lacking. And it's an adjustment. It's weird. Uh, but I don't know. I think that the opioid addiction, I think that was a bad move. Um, Apparently the ratings were not fantastic. The boycott has gone through. Um, and I think that's sad. Uh, I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing to punish the ABC. I think is who put it on. It's one thing to kind of punish them by saying you did this dumb fuck thing, so now we're gonna give you shit ratings. But at the same time, it's like they're going on with the show so that the people on the show can continue to work. And you know, there's a that's a difficult thing to manage. You know what I mean? How do you still support everybody else on the show while at the same time showing, you know, a lack of support for the company that made the decision? Uh, I don't know. It's sad all the way around. It was a sad episode. The first episode was a sad episode. There was a lot of really sad parts to it, but that's to be expected. Um, I guess we'll see how it goes going forward, where they go with it. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I really don't see it going past the first season. I think after this season it's probably going to get canceled. I don't think people are going to be as into it. I just don't think it's going to scratch that same itch, you know what I mean? I just don't I don't see it going very far. I don't see it going far without her. And again, that's sad for the people involved with the show. But at the same time, it's like, the fuck were you thinking? Like, you can't. These knee-jerk reactions from these companies nowadays are just fucking stupid. Like, and everybody's doing it. Corporations are so fucking just pussy nowadays. They can't support people unless it allies with this really fringe element that's very vocal. A lot of people have done a lot worse and they get away with it, and then somebody decides to misrepresent a tweet by Roseanne, and then it's all, well, fuck that, we're out. And it's like, we gotta stop being afraid of buzzwords. I think that's the trick of it. We gotta stop being afraid of the buzzwords. I think at this point the buzzwords have lost all meaning. To call somebody racist anymore, it doesn't mean what it used to mean. What it used to mean was you were actually racist. And nowadays what it is you're racist if you say something or do something that somebody decides to just call you racist for. It doesn't even have to be all that racist. Like, it's kind of a pitiful world where we live in, where we used to say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And now it's like, oh, words will end your life. Words will end your ability to make money. They will end your livelihood. We've become too goddamn sensitive. And I think that this show is a prime example of how we're just too goddamn sensitive as a society. And, yeah, I mean, it's disappointing. But at the same time, it is what it is, I mean, I'm not saying there's no going back. They could bring Roseanne back. They killed Dan off, and he came back. So, who knows? They could go. It was a mix-up of corpses in the fucking morgue. I don't know. At times the show was very soap opera-ish like that, and they could do that shit again if they really feel that they want to, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that there's going to be this season, and then that's pretty much going to be the end of it. And that's really sad. I was really excited to see where they were going to go with Roseanne in the second season of the reboot. Well, I mean, technically it would be like, the 11th season then at that point. I was really interested to see where they were going to go with it, but whatever. It was still funny. I still enjoyed it, but it wasn't as good. It's like going from having a really, really good steak to having kind of a shitty steak burger. It's still good because you put A1 sauce on it, but it's just not a good steak. I don't know. But yeah, there you go. That's my review of it. I think that if you're a big fan of Roseanne, I would like to say that there's a lot of streaming options out there to where you can watch the show, but maybe not exactly support the company. But even then, it's just fucking over the show, and the show's gonna wind up getting canceled. So it's like, what do you do? I don't know. You just kind of gotta make the decision for yourself. Do you like the cast of characters that they have enough to want to support the show for what it is and kind of consider it a spin-off? Or do you want to say, yeah, I'm pissed off enough with the way that the company handled it that I don't care who it hurts, I'm not supporting the show? And there's a lot of people I'm sure that just aren't going to like it because Roseanne's not on it, and I see that too. Like I said, I'm probably not going to follow it very adamantly. When the show came back, every week I was like, gotta watch Roseanne, and I was excited to watch it. I really wanted to see what the next episode was going to have in it, and this one I'm kind of like, I'd like to see where they go with it, and if they ever get away from the morose angle of she's dead now. But I think that that's probably going to be a prevailing theme of the show, and that's gonna make the show something that I'm not going to want to watch, because I'm not going to always want to watch this sad show where they go on and on about how she's dead now. Like, that's just not going to be good to me on the long run, Like, for the first episode, alright, fine. They went into that pretty hard. And if they can keep it on for the second episode, alright, fine, there's a grieving process to it. But if it gets into the third, fourth, fifth episode and they're still doing this kind of morose black humor, I'm going to lose interest real fucking fast. So, hopefully they didn't go that route. I imagine most of the season's already filmed and done. But, and at the same time, how do you get away from that? She was the main focus of the show. It's like having Star Wars without Luke Skywalker. Where do you go from there? So, I don't know. I don't know. I still thought it was funny. It just wasn't appealing, I guess. It wasn't so funny. They're missing that huge character, that huge comedic presence. It's gone now. So, I don't know, man. I think it might have been a bad idea to kind of try it. Maybe the whole thing altogether was just kind of a bad idea to just be like, we're going to bring the show back without Roseanne. That might have just been a bad call. You might have just had they could have just had the one season and said, we're just not going to pick up the show anymore. Like, I get that they wanted everybody to still be able to work and all that sort of thing, but I just, it was weird. It was really weird. It was weird to watch it without Roseanne. And I don't think that it's just like, I don't think it's just like, me missing the character type of thing. It was weird. Like, it was just weird. There was just that element missing. Nobody really carried it the way she did. It was like in the show with Roseanne, there was Roseanne, and it just kind of followed her around to all these events, and everybody else was just kind of peripheral characters that interacted with Roseanne. And now it's like there's no real focus to the show. They didn't have a character that they focused on. It was just kind of, here's a random scene with Darlene and Becky. Here's a random scene with Dan and Mark. Here's a random scene with Jackie and Darlene. You know what I mean? Like, it was all just kind of random events. There was no focus to the show at all. And that was really odd. It's not that kind of a show. It's never really been that kind of a show. So it's like it's struggling along. I think they're dragging it across, and I don't think people are gonna be entertained by that. Just a whole bunch of peripheral characters interacting with each other with no focus. So, but who do you have be the focus? they're all peripheral characters. They've always all kind of been written as peripheral characters. I don't think that the character of Dan is the type of character that you can revolve the show around. It's nothing about John Goodman. John Goodman is an amazing actor. He's really good at the craft. But the character is a peripheral character. The character is not fleshed out to the point that Dan can be the focus of the show. Darlene is too insecure of a character. She doesn't have the confidence. Sarah Gilbert's, good at playing that character, but that character is a peripheral character. They're all kind of incomplete when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? They all have... they're all complete characters, but they just don't have the personality. It's really weird to describe. Like, Roseanne had her flaws, and she always kind of had a way of winning despite those flaws. Roseanne was a lot like Donald Trump. Right, Donald Trump coin? Let's bring Donald Trump coin out. What do you think, Donald Trump coin? Yeah, it was a bad call. Donald Trump coin thinks it was a bad call. I mean, like, she was that character that always kind of persevered in spite of her flaws. Even when she would do things that were wrong, and she knew it was wrong, everybody knew it was wrong, it was undeniable it was wrong, she still kind of had a way to just push through and still just... I don't know, she was larger than life on that show. And none of the other characters have that element. Darlene's always kind of conflicted about things, and people roll over her. Becky kind of rolls over here and gets one over on her, and and Darlene doesn't have the kind of hard-hitting comeback that Roseanne would. Like, everybody kind of teased each other on that show. And Roseanne was the butt of a lot of jokes, but then Roseanne would flip it. And I watched the Connors, and, if you want to say that Darlene's going to be the one that's going to kind of step into that role, there was a couple of scenes where Becky would rip into her, and then it was just, she just took it, because it's like, what do you say after that? You know what I mean? There's just such a weakness in all of the characters. They're all periphery characters. There's no really, really, really strong, overbearingly in-your-face character on the show anymore. And I think that's what's going to wind up hurting it in the end, is that they're all periphery characters. There's really no main character in the show anymore. And it's just not as entertaining because of it, I think. So, there you go. There's my analysis of the show. And, I mean, you can tell by my general, glum mood, it wasn't really a great episode. Like, it was very sad. There's a part I kind of teared up. It was very sad. And it was still the same writing. I can't say that the writing was any worse. The writing was exactly the same for all of the characters. It's just, it was missing Roseanne. So I don't know. Like I said, I'll probably wind up watching it all just because I absolutely love that show, and I want to see what they do with it. I'm always interested to see what they do with it when they go this kind of fucking huge changing route. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that it's going to hold an audience. I really don't. Maybe a new audience will spring up around it. I don't know. But I I don't think it's going to hold people that really liked Roseanne. I think they're going to watch it and they're just going to, if they're even willing to give it the chance, I think they'll watch it and just drift away from it because it's just not as entertaining anymore. So, yeah, it's weird to watch a whole bunch of secondary characters interact with each other. It's kind of like you just have this feeling that there should be something more to it, and there just fucking isn't. So, there you go. That's my thoughts. If you watched it, let me know what you thought of it in the comments. If you decided that you're going to join the boycott and not watch it at all, you know, say hey-o. I don't know. And if you never liked the fucking show, tell me you never liked the show so I can go, okay, well, there you go. I don't know. But, yeah. There you go.